July 2nd, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. There weren't very many trades today. It looked like it was in the pre-market, which is continuation from yesterday, a sell-off, a bounce, consolidation, kind of a choppy sideways. I would still consider this all part of the same consolidation, but there's a bullish bias, then another rally. So kind of like two large rallies with a slight bullish consolidation in the middle. It was a little more slower trading today. I took a total of 2 trades. I was profitable on the first one, and I got a losing trade on the second one. Other than that, there weren't very many setups that I could find pretty much throughout the whole day. Most of the price action, I guess, for potential setups were kind of at the beginning of the day. And then, as you can see, this is probably right around where my cursor is 9 Pacific Standard. So that means there's 4 more hours of trading from here back. But on the chart, 2000 tick chart, you can see that most of the candles already printed by this time. So there's only like 2.5 hours, and this is 4 hours. I'm going to get into the trades right now. The 2 economic pieces of data, one was at 6:30. I don't know if it's an economic data so much as it was something to be aware of. 6:30 Pacific Standard, Chair Powell was going to start chatting about something. And then around 7 o'clock, right here, is where the JOLTS job openings report was released. So both, I don't think really moved the market all that much. You could make the argument that maybe Powell was speaking and that's what caused this, but prices were already kind of in a big gradual uptrend in the first place. This is what the pre-market looked like. It was a sell-off here, consolidation, and another push down. It found the pre-market bottom here. Ideally, the trading range is a little bit higher, right where the bodies ended up. On the bounce, it had like a first entry short, and it started moving up. So I drew this trend line as a good support, and this is a resistance. So I trust the support more than resistance because it's looking like it has 3 confirmations. Now the top does have pretty good confirmation here, so I like that this channel is being pretty well preserved. It pushes up. Technically, you do have a second entry long here, but it's just this trading is just too tight. These are just like piano keys side by side. It's hard to really gauge the direction when you just see this in real time. I need a better indication, a better key entry point, like a bounce off of the bottom here. I'm waiting for that. I see it kind of do that, but then this didn't have a good signal bar, so I didn't like that. Prices then continue moving up. It almost reached it here. Hits the pre-market high, kind of pulls back down. EMA holds. You only have a first entry here. Technically you have a second entry, but now it's kind of far away. It looks like it's just kind of ranging right now. This isn't the most convincing signal bar for a second entry long to go, especially when there's already a kind of a resistance that was obeyed 3 times for triple test. So at this point, I'm thinking we might be just range bound, but there is a likelihood that this could be a big leg up, consolidation, and then a second leg up about the same size. But it's too early to tell right now. I'm waiting. There was a second entry short here, but it's above the EMA. I didn't really like that. Plus, it's a doji. Chopped around. You do have a new low here. It's a first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short here. But again, I don't like the way the body closed. EMA is too flat, so not really reliable yet. Chopped around. I did have the bottom of the trading range here. Let me actually just put it where I thought it was. Here, had a fail breakout. Dragged it down to here. Had this fail breakout. Kept it up here until I saw the second one here. So by this time, then I said, okay, well, maybe it's actually down here. Prices are chopping around. Nothing super awesome has set up yet. Again, the top of the range is holding pretty well. Comes down. I'm thinking there's a potential fail breakout. There's this green channel down, break up, push down. I actually saw this as a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long. So I saw this as a failed breakout. It looks like it's moving back into range. I saw something similar yesterday, but it was making lower lows every time. But in this case, it's making lower lows, but it held here at a failed breakout, break of this green down channel. I was thinking there's still going to be a little bit of bullish momentum coming up. I like the look of this candle, and I like that there's enough room to, the first resistance I'm thinking about is potentially the EMA, but as you can see, it's not really being respected. So I'm thinking prices may come back up to the highs here. So I watched this next candle. It opened, went down, and then flushed up. So I thought, okay, this is actually a possible trade. And I was thinking of getting my order in, but I just wasn't fast enough. And by the time it kind of spiked up to here, the scalp had already been made. So I just abandoned the idea of taking a trade. I'm not willing to, try to take that risk. So, but then it it broke this green down channel, already tested and made a new low, went up, tried a second time. This creates a higher low, and this actually sets up for the first trade that I take. This isn't a nice higher low because it ends as a red candle, but it's pretty close to the bottom of this range that I've established. I mean, the range could be a little bit higher, could even be higher here. Like if you wanted to capture this and treat these as two failed breakouts at the time, I had it here. I treated this as a failed breakout. I saw it was close enough. So I'm watching for a higher low. I don't know that I have a higher low yet. Definitely by this candle, you know you have a higher low. The problem is this wasn't a very good signal bar to get a trade ready, so I wouldn't have entered on this candle. But I'm thinking this is a break of this green, tested the lows, now it's pushing up on the orange. This is a break of the orange. It probably wants to test the highs. I think there's a trade here. It's still going to, in my opinion, move back up to test the highs of this range potentially. So I get my order ready, but I want to see what this next candle does. It actually opens here. It flushes down. I didn't enter yet. I see it bounce off the EMA. EMA, again, isn't super reliable yet, but I do see it bounce off the EMA, and I think, okay, I think I like this trade. Plus, my tick counter was counting down, and 2,000 ticks, I don't exactly remember where it was, but it was running out of ticks, meaning this candle was getting close to closing. And so I thought there's a chance it's going to close above and at the high. So above this guy and at the high. So it actually flashes up. I enter my trade one tick above here. It comes back, picks me up, but unfortunately it doesn't bounce and actually closes one tick lower. So the decision to enter this trade was because this time, the life of this candle was running out, but it was looking bullish. If I was super conservative, I probably would have waited for this to close or just skip this trade completely because the signal bar wasn't that great. Nevertheless, I took it. I had to sit through this candle, which is like 2 minutes of waiting, and it flashed up. I got my profit. I knew it was pushing against the highs here, but I just wanted to get the quick scalp out. Ideally, for this kind of trade, I would want to enter at the highs of this candle or probably back a little bit because my risk was pretty large all the way down here, which wasn't a very good risk reward and isn't the best setup or best trade to have taken, but I took it and I was able to get a profit on this round. Tops around, if I had hung in there, this candle here likely would have stopped me out. But as you can see, I had enough to for sure got out with my 4 tick profit target. Prices bounce. Okay, so this is actually where I set up my second trade, and this was a little bit in hindsight not the best because I definitely should have waited for a lower high, and I'll show you what I mean. So this is a localized new low, certainly not the global or real new low, but I saw this as a new low, first entry short, second entry short, kind of resets here because this low is lower than these guys. So I count this as a new low, bounce off this trading range support that I believed in. It had an overshoot here. It pushed up to here. It went up. I like that it's breaking through this top range resistance and then it flushed down hard. So the way I had it drawn at the time, I saw this as a potential break of this orange channel. Even though the orange channel wants to test the high, there was at one time, see if I can do it, so you can see that I lost on it, but I had it something like this. I actually had something like this, and I saw this as a break, and it already tested the highs of this orange channel. later I would come and find something closer to this. So for the time being, at least in real time, let's work with this because this is how my thinking process was in real time. I saw a break and tested the high. I said, okay, there's a few things going for this trade to go short. It's at the top of the range, at a failed breakout, and it's already pushing back. This is a very nice signal bar. The risk on the signal bar is only 6 ticks. Looks like it made 2 clean moves, one leg up, pull back, second leg up. By all accounts, from my read of the chart, is this line is going to hold, and so prices are likely going to come back down. So that's the premise I was taking. I enter 1 tick below, it chops sideways, it doesn't fill me, I'm waiting, I'm 1 tick away from when it formed this candle. It flushes up, my stop is 1 tick above this guy, surviving so far. I'm surviving a second time, and I'm waiting. I'm thinking, all right, come on, it just got to push down. But at this time, I was having doubts about this trade setup. And at this time, I also felt, because I had 2 trend lines going, or 2 trend channels. I had this one, and then I also had this one. And I then realized my folly. I said, I might have entered too early. I should have waited for a lower high confirmation, prices to come back down. And this has finally took me out. It flashed up. Not only did it flash up, I was 1 tick above, but I had some slippage, so I actually lost it. My stop ended up being 2 points above the highs of this instead of just one, not 2 points, 2 ticks instead of 1 tick. So I got a little bit of slippage. So as I said, in hindsight, definitely should have been more patient, waited for a lower high. But as I said, in real time, that's how everything I was seeing. Kind of goes to show I need a little more, well, a lot more chart time to be able to decipher whether this was a good enough trade or not. This was, I thought, maybe decent, but it was admittedly a little ambiguous. I didn't find this channel early enough or consider this because I said 1 touch, 2 touch, third touch was over here while this looked a little cleaner. I was playing off the idea it looked like better as a break and tested the new high. So that was my second trade, and it was a red, so wiped out the profits of this guy and a little bit more because the risk is higher than the reward here. So I just kind of sat and I just want to be more patient now. But again, watching, prices continue moving. It flushes down as a first entry long, second entry long. I only marked this, but I didn't label it as an actual trade because I thought this could have been a second entry long potential trade, but I wasn't sure where my purple down channel exactly was. It could have been a bounce off of it. If you drew it slightly differently, you have a bigger cut through here and maybe a touch here. So it would be a third touch confirmation. The thing that would have made me mark it as a trade is if this had closed above the EMA. But it's also the first break of this yellow down channel. And I can't neglect the fact that this yellow down channel is here. So it could be a break and a test of the new low. So even though I thought maybe a trade here, learning from being early, I decided to just wait. It looked like it would have worked, flushed down, made a triple bottom test, and then continued up. So here, first entry long, second entry long, I needed this candle to be slightly higher, then I would have trusted it as a triple test. Not a triple test, excuse me, but a higher low confirmation. But it did come down. It did bounce off of here. There is potentially a reason you can make for an entry because there is kind of like a micro triple bottom here and it bounced off currently where the purple line is. Prices bounce up. There is a new low here. First entry short, second entry short. No good short trade here. It's not a good signal bar. Consolidates, gets a little noisy. Again, I see something, a potential setup, but I didn't really mark it. It's a new high here. First entry long pullback. Second entry long is kind of the same thing that was happening here. This time it is bouncing off the purple. This blue line doesn't exist yet because I didn't see any real confirmation other than respected this low here. Had this candle again, like this candle, been a more bullish candle and ideally above the EMA or at the EMA, I may have considered it. But again, I'm thinking this yellow down channel may need to test its low, but it's kind of contradicting or fighting against the other idea that it could bounce off this purple. So it's ambiguous, and you can make good, I guess, good supportive reasons to take a long or to, that prices are going to continue down. So don't take a long. I decided to just sit it out. It flushes up pretty strongly, so it would have worked out really nicely. Fortunately, I didn't, I couldn't decipher that. Prices continue moving. It's a new low, first entry short, second entry short, not a good signal bar to go short on. It is bouncing off potentially the high of this purple, but it's still not a good enough reason for that setup. Prices then continue moving. It looks like it moves down on this orange channel, breaks through. I'm thinking it might come back in, but then it breaks through on this yellow and actually hits this, what I think is a triple test. But unfortunately, there was no setup for a triple test or no setup for taking a trade, even though there was a triple test. It gets noisy here, two dojis, flushes down, breaks through the support. So the support is iffy now. There's no first entry short until here. And then technically you have a second entry short and second entry short failure, but you'd see it as the doji here. So it's something I don't really like as a signal bar because it shows definitely indecision because bulls and bears couldn't figure out direction. Prices then move, kind of chops around, and it starts moving up on this really, really strong green channel. So I'm watching this and I'm thinking one leg up, consolidation, a slight bullish uptrend here, then a break. And now this leg, I was thinking could be the same as this leg. So I was looking for a potential move of here to about here. So let me just go ahead and color this in for myself. And so I know what I was thinking at the time. I'm thinking prices could make their way all the way up to here. I'll just go ahead and put a line because what I did in real time, I'm thinking prices potentially can make their way eventually up to here. But there could be a lot of sideways scenic route moving along the way. Price is chopped. There's no clean second entries. Maybe the second entry here, but I don't like the signal bar is too bearish. If it had been green, then I could make the argument that it is also a potential triple test bounce off the EMA. Then I would have considered taking the trade. But then you see this candle. Whoop, didn't mean to move that. And it's too late. It has this gigantic flush up. Don't know what that was about. Continues up. It doesn't seem to fit this green up channel very well anymore. So it's like green up channel, consolidation, trading range, then another channel moving up. No second entries. I mean, technically, so when I say no second entries, no clean, decisive second entries. I mean, technically, yes, there's like, okay, new high, first entry, second entry long here, but this isn't very convincing. This is an inside bar to this. So you have several, I had seen quite a few of those kind of similarities throughout the day and yesterday as well. And those are kind of second entries that I want to avoid because it's not necessarily high probability. It gets noisy here, chops around. It looks like it's in a trading range. It chops again, and then it starts testing the highs, but then it starts moving up. So that's where I find this up channel. This orange up channel isn't the best either because these candles are pretty small and it meanders, meaning it kind of pushes up, moves sideways. Because you can say it pushed, pretty much moved sideways here. It had a small move up, push sideways, another small move up, another sideways price action. It flushes down below the EMA, has a bunch of dojis here. Prices are really slow, but lo and behold, it makes the measured move. So went up, consolidates, small uptrend, then it starts a second decisive leg here, and it hit the top. So here, am I thinking going short? Not really, because the EMA, which is this blue line, you could tell it's on a bullish pick. It has a bullish bias now. So to go short is like picking the top, thinking, well, the strength of this measured move that I've found, which may or may not be respected at all, is going to be strong enough to cause prices to break back down. Well, that's not the case. And on top of that, it's already near the end of the day. This is it's 12:54, so the market is going to close regular trading hours in about 6 minutes. So seeing all that, I'm just thinking, okay, well, even before that, when it was back here, I'm thinking, okay, I got two trades through. One was red, one was green. After seeing all of this, it's not going to happen. I need to hang up my hat, call it a day. And so it was good reason to do that because you can see toward the end of the day, it just kind of gets noisy, pops up, and it's still considered the trading day here because it hasn't hit the official close. So rather low day. Definitely, I could see it as two two trades, one of which definitely I should have waited for confirmation. And the second one, excuse me, the first one, the higher low wasn't even the best higher low because I took it on a more iffy signal bar. Second trade, I probably should have waited for confirmation. Maybe if my chart read was better, I would have found the better, more, I guess, accurate trend channel going up. So tomorrow is going to only be half day, so I'm not sure if I'm going to even trade tomorrow because trading for half the day, so it'll only be about 3 hours, 3.5 hours of price action. Plus, I think the volume will be even lower. Oh, definitely lower just because half the day, but even lower with respect to the time because I take snapshots of the volume at the open at 8:30, 10 a.m., 11:30, and I just kind of do a volume check on the ES just to get an idea of, and I have a record of it, just to get an idea of what kind of day it's going to be. Today is definitely a lower volume day than typical, and I imagine tomorrow, even with though it's half day, for the time that it is trading, it will also see very low volume. So it might not even be worth the time to log in or try to get any trades. And then Thursday is 4th of July, so that's a holiday. And definitely Friday, I think the volume is going to be even lower as well. So hopefully that was helpful.